Hello and welcome to Brazen. I hope you are so excited. This is going to be one of the coolest episodes because I've just spoke a little bit before we pressed record with the guest, Travis, and we are going to be going deep into the spiritual with our own journeys, and I am fucking stoked about it. So, to let you guys in on what is happening, we have Travis here. Travis, the technician. I love it so much. Travis is from Australia and he helps humans cultivate purpose, self-worth, and a life worth living. And I want to let you guys know he's the coolest dude. We were just talking about how it's so amazing that he lives across the world and we do such similar work because as humans, we're all the same. We go through the same stuff. At the core of it, we all experience loss, we all experience love, we all experience fear, and to be able to communicate in an instant with somebody across the world and connect and have such a big impact, I think is the coolest fucking thing. I think we're in the coolest part of history. I love it so much. So Travis, thank you for being here. It's so cool to have you. I'm so glad you're here. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Wow. Thank you for that introduction, Heather. Wow. And it is so true that as much as this ocean may separate us physically, I feel that what's happening in the world with this awakening spirituality wise, especially energetically, I could feel you as soon as this camera turned on. I was like, oh shit, I know this woman. I love this woman. And this is what's happening in the world. And I think we're
Yeah.
remembering who we truly were and always have been. So
Yeah.
I guess for me, in my remembrance and uncovering, I've gotten to a point now for anyone listening in a practical way, what I help people do, as Heather said, helping them cultivate that life they want to do. But before they do that, what I help is like, picture me as Morpheus from the Matrix. I'm literally unplugging the
Mm.
programs that you've been taught by society, friends, family, all the things. I'm rewiring those beliefs and programs that make you do certain things. And then I'm unleashing you into the world as that new rewired human that isn't controlled by those things. And for example, it might be so, just for example, I had a client before this. And one thing that I helped her discover through shadow work is something that I really love working with is that she actually thrives in chaos. And
Mm.
she didn't realize that she wasn't consciously aware of that. Now, just for anyone listening, is that your unconscious is what controls 95% of what you do. Now, that's the back of our brain. The front of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, is the conscious part of us. So consciously, she's like, I know I don't need to be in this relationship, but why the fuck am I staying in it? Because your unconscious and your nervous system is so used to chaos and toxicity from your upbringing, and she's been through a lot of things as a kid. That's all it knows. She thinks love is chaos, and
Mhm.
vice versa. So because she wasn't aware of it, so by us shining lights on that, and by me unplugging that program, rewiring the belief, and allowing her to move forward now, unleashed as a beautiful, empowered, masculine and feminine woman, she can call in the man she actually deserves. So that,
Mm.
in a nutshell, is what I help, and I help men do the same thing. Vice versa. So, Heather asked, and like we know in coaching spaces, like what's your niche? Who do you help?
Yep.
I guess technically, like it would be around the mostly my clients are 20 to 35 roughly.
Yeah.
A lot of them business owners, like high achievers, entrepreneurs, things like that. Because I find that a lot of people that do really, really well in the world are actually stuck in their masculine.
Mhm.
So being a man that's quite divine in being able to flow between the two, or the four quadrants, in the light, dark, in both in masculine and feminine, I'm able to give people a reference point as to what's actually possible. So they see, oh, this is what it feels like to be able to do that. I can do that too. So I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, in a nutshell, that's essentially what I do with so much else as well.
Oh, I love that. You are what I call an expander. You expand
Yeah, I
others to
appreciate it.
show them what's possible, right? And like you don't
Yeah.
show them what's possible for you. You show them what's possible for you by showing them what's possible for them. Like you have them walk through it and you experience it. And I think that that's the part of this work that is so incredible to me, but that's also what makes this work. One of my mentors calls it self-improvement on crack. Like it's you, in order to be able to do this, you really have to put yourself through so much. And like you said, you have to be able to find your own personal balance of that masculine and feminine, that yin and that yang, that up and that down of learning how to create the container for you to feel safe. And that's a big piece, I think, when it comes to work, like I literally jumped from a 4-day event into this podcast and we just got done talking about that. Like when you are a coach, a mentor, a teacher, or online in any way, which is again so cool, please go online. Please get over any resistance you have and connect with humans from all of it. Don't forget to connect with the earth and with other physical beings, of course, but like
Yeah.
go and do that. But we are talking about how when you're a coach or mentor or teacher, you want to be able to let it flow, and that's how all of my stuff has been written, because I tried to be super masculine because I've always been such a masculine driven woman up until about 7-8 years ago, when I had what many of us have, just this tower moment where everything fell apart because I was
Mm.
so fucking out of alignment with my values and what I wanted out of life and my highest potential and what I wanted for a future. I was so out of alignment with everything that it all just came crumbling. And there was a lot of other reasons too, right? Like
Yeah, of
life.
course.
But like it's just incredible. Like when you can create that container and then you can flow inside of it and you can let it just be what it's meant to be, and you can feel safe in that container then. Like, and that can be anything, you guys. Just a quick side note. Like for us, we're talking about programs, and like for the coaches, the teachers ourselves, to like be able to be so open and authentic and real and connect with y'all. But do it in your own home. Like if you are working through something, like say you are a woman, I do deal a lot with women, and myself, where it's like, oh, I want to feel even better in my body. I want to feel even better in this aspect of my body. Like make the safe container your bedroom then, with the lights dimmed and the candles on and the incense lit and the all of that.
Mm.
Like set the fucking mood, romanticize yourself, and then allow yourself to connect and just be flowy and move. And if you move and you don't like what you see in the mirror, that's okay. It's called body neutrality. We talked about that too. Like you don't have to fucking love everything. You can be like, I love my body, but that stretch mark can go fuck itself. Like you can be that. You can do that.
Yeah,
So thank you for bringing that up. I think it's such a big piece, because the what else we are talking about before we pressed record is so many men need to know that it's safe to create the container for them to touch into that or into that feminine, and know that it's not just safe, it's so necessary, and it will bring them so much peace and so much compassion for themselves. And you were telling me about how when you tap deeper into your spirituality recently in the last few years, you had such a huge experience because you let yourself be in a container where you felt safe and you let it flow. Can you tell us about that? It's so beautiful.
of course. Yeah. And I guess to pre-frame that for anyone listening, that I guess to bring it across into Aussie terms to the Americans, is that I was a professional football player at a young age. So our football is rugby league. You've probably seen it on like YouTube, TikTok, all things popping up now. It's no pads, it's wild, no helmets. It's just insane. That was me. I was a professional by the time I was 17. But what I was going through was the fact that I was a really, at my core, was a wounded feminine. That's what I was my entire life, was this wounded little boy that had no idea how to deal with his masculine, the wild man that was within, that the wild man would come out in the football field. That's the only time my masculine, my dark masculine, and my light masculine, because I was a captain a lot of the time and the leader, without knowing that. But that was the only time I was felt safe to bring out what I now am strongly in when I was younger. Fast forward a little bit, and I discovered, even running my own event a couple of years ago called the Ripple Effect, and it was about bringing the masculine and feminine together. So I, in that moment, had to step into our own event because a couple of men didn't show up. Very common for the avoidant man to, day before things, like the anxiety kicks in, like, we're not coming, fuck this, it's too scary. And I get it, I was there too. But that made me step into my own event. So I experienced every single exercise we'd planned. And there was a moment where we prepped this, and Heather, I need to set the scene for this, right? It'll make sense once I get to the point. So there's an old pool at this place, and it had like weeds and swampy, but it was perfect because it was kind of like the grass led into it. So picture, we had 50 women standing outside of this pool. Down on the football field to the side were 50 men. We all stood in a line. We were all silent. We were setting the scene. The intention was set. Viking music begins. Boom, 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 boom. And you just feel like I can feel it now. I'm getting goosebumps. and men are like tearing up already because this is like we're going to war. We're about to go to battle.
Yeah.
And we're being led by the facilitators up to this pool. And you see all the women, they're already crying as well. You can feel this fucking energy. It's so potent. And we all stand. So we're facing off against each other. Each man had to pick another man. They were going to face off against each other. And the intention for this exercise was to show that the divine masculine, the warrior, the protector, and the guardian, that is the energy we want to see. It's not anger. It's not abuse. It's not the things that a lot of these women had experienced. And when Toddy Jarrett, my best mate, he led into it. He dropped us into like, drop your eyes, think about this. Think about this other man trying to harm. Wow, getting emotional. Harm your wife or kids or your mum, anyone, like your sister, the women, the beautiful women you love in your life. And the story we'll get to eventually is that I've always been a protector. I'm a guardian. I'm 6'5" and 140 kilos. Like, I'm not to be messed with physically, but there's a part of me in my heart that will go to war for anyone that I love. And I'm experiencing this moment, that warrior come out for the first time off the football field in a controlled way.
Yeah.
And that was my divine masculine. And I've got videos of it. I can send it to you if you want to use it. But I just let rip. I'm like, like, you're not gonna fucking touch it. And this, you're face to face with these men. And when that roar began, all of us are going off in this container. All the women just start bawling their eyes out. They're crying. They're seeing this protecting energy that in the past they'd experienced that front on, and it had been abuse. It had been violence. It had been physical, emotional, all the things. So it was so healing for the men and the women, the masculine, the feminine, everything. It was so powerful. And the reason I bring that up, and clearly I had to say that because that emotion, I haven't felt that emotion around that story in a long time. But that allowed me to understand how to flow between the two. And what that's allowed me to do now is to integrate both of them, or all the quadrants. And basically now I feel safe to be in my feminine because I'm safe in my masculine. So any men listening, if you're not safe in one of your energies, the other one's going to suffer. So you can polarize yourself, not only the partners around you and the friends and the people. It's like, if you don't have a part of you that feels safe and strong and to hold the container, like Heather said before, then part of you is never actually going to have the capacity to integrate. And because I've had the capacity to integrate and feel safe in my feminine, holy fuck, I I have gone through, and like, I'm a dude, like, I'm one of the boys that loves comic books and plays games. I'm a gamer. I've always been a gamer. I drink piss, like I drink beer, like I have fun. I'm a normal human being.
Right.
I think a lot of woo woo gets like, oh, you're meant to be this, like, like
Yeah,
crazy.
no, I definitely love to have craft beer whenever I'm able to. Like, I love to be a human being.
Yeah, 100%. But like, my human is very human. But
Yeah.
there's a part of me that is so deep in the spiritual and in the woo woo, as they might call it, that the experiences I've had, Heather, like, do you want me to go straight into that
I
story I shared
do. I would
before?
love it. Yes, please.
Okay, cool. So to preface even that, my journey to now, one part that really unlocked my idea around this whole concept of spirit guides, all the things, was that I started to see things during my breathwork sessions. Breathwork really unlocked everything for me. Someone's here. Who's here
Oh,
now? Yeah. Wow. So, oh God, I felt that. So there's basically, I was surviving by buying and reselling products. So I'd go to tip markets, op shops, which are like, I guess, like your, what's the equivalent to that over there? Like secondhand places,
yeah,
like
like a thrift shop.
thrift shop, thrift. Yeah, I'd like go to thrift stores and buy and resell on eBay and marketplace. That's how I lived,
Yeah.
because I needed free time to start my podcast. I needed time to see my guests. I was still learning how to be an entrepreneur and was building this business. But during that time, I think because I was on purpose, spirit, guide, everything started to show me little symbols. I'll never forget the one night I saw on a truck in my game, the number plate said 777. And then the letters even meant something very special to me. I can't remember the letters, but it was like my first experience, and I noticed it. It's
Yeah.
probably always been there, but I noticed it. And then all these things started happening. But the craziest one that led me to truly believing in all this, you can't see them, but there's 3 big pictures on my office in here
Mhm.
of the same fucking tribe of Native Americans, the Lakota people. So there's a Chief Sitting Bull is one of the most famous chiefs of all time. He is one of the leaders of the Lakota people, and my whole body's going off right now. They're here. So I started, and at the time, I'm like, oh, this is a cool Indian picture because I've always loved Native Americans. I've always felt innately in my body that I have a connection to them in some
Mhm.
way. So I found all these pictures, and I'm like, why the hell am I finding this stuff? Well, I'm having more experiences. And then I get told, yeah, you've got the spirit guide who's a Native American, you've got an Aztec warrior. And then I found my third spirit guide during this experience, right? So we're finally at the story without all these prefacing. So
I love it. You got to set the scene.
you have to, because understanding it, because I'm sure it's now people will see like, oh, this guy's literally like me. He's not
Yeah.
something like, anyway, I get to this event called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, one of the best
Love
things I've
it.
ever done.
I mean,
One of the
yeah.
best things ever. Yeah. Who did you have you studied through it?
I am a self-study. I always have been with everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, not completely by myself, of course, but I learn so much better when I dig in and then I apply and then I find the mentor that meets me where I am at that point.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah. Like I think Tad James was like the OG, and then we learned through Elizabeth Ann Walker. She was incredible.
Very nice.
I went to this event thinking it was all very like business mindset, tools to be able to coach better, all the things.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not ready. I was not ready for the experience I had in this breath work. So it was like a holotropic breath work, in through the mouth, out through the mouth, very short breath. It's very much about bringing up the traumas within our body, to clear them, be aware of them, all the things. So 2 years before this, I met a beautiful friend of mine who's very connected. She just learned her abilities. I was talking to my friend Elise at a park. First time I ever met her, similar to us. I felt like I knew her. We talked for 4 hours. It felt like 10 minutes. And during that time, she had a moment where she said, just stop talking for a second, Trav. I'm seeing something, I'm feeling something. And I was like, okay, what the hell? And she goes, at a point in time, you were a protector and a warrior of a tribe, and someone harmed your family. I bawled my eyes out. I didn't know the story, but whoever I was at a point in my life heard that and he remembered, and I just bawled my eyes out. I didn't know that at the time. I was freaking out. I was like, what the fuck is this? So I was very
Yeah.
early in my journey. Fast forward 2 years, I experienced that exact story Elise told me, word for word, scene for scene. And I've got videos of this I can send you to if you'd like to use it. But
Yeah.
basically, I'm on the ground and I'm about 10 minutes in. And I can feel and I've done a fair bit of breath before this. So I was like, yeah, cool, let's bring it. Let's bring the screaming. Let's bring the stuff. Let's go. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. And I'm in this. I'm the first part, and it's got 3 parts to it. The first part, I'm I'm there. Oh shit, I've gone back there now. So I'm there and I'm leading. Oh my God. I'm leading our warriors and our tribe to another tribe that just harmed all our tribe. And I'm saying, go now, brothers, go get them for what they did. But it's coming out in a different language in my physical body. So I'm saying, he out there, like some ancient Aztec language, right? My whole body's vibrating right now because it's remembering. And you see it in the video. I'm fully speaking another language. I have no idea what I'm saying, but in my mind, I'm saying, "Go now, boys, go get them." But
Yeah.
it's coming out in another language, and I could feel it. And I was huge. I was this big, scary looking dude. I had like a skull mask on and bones for armor. So it was that real tribal Aztec warrior stuff, right? And then the next part is I come back from the hunt. So it was all jumbled up, the timeline. But I
Yeah.
come back to our tribe and I see my wife and kids dead. And the scream I let out in the video, holy shit. It
Yeah.
is wild. It's blood curdling. I've never seen myself ever let that out. And again, I've got that on video. Thanks to Charlie for capturing all this. I'll send that to you so you can see it. And The third part, and this I'll never forget this moment, because I felt it was like my whole world unlocked. And this is why I think everyone should step so deep into spirituality and not look back, because it'll unlock everything for you. The third part was me seeing, and I could see their feathers and skull crowns, and it was the chiefs of our tribe around a fire. And they were saying, how could you let this happen, brother? You are our protector, you are our guardian. So that shame and that guilt for me was coming up. And I kept saying over and over again, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I didn't see them. And I was saying that over and over again out loud in my physical body too. And one of the facilitators noticed it. Shout out to Simon. And he got my best friend, Shan, who was facilitating too, to come over, and she whispered into my ear, we love you. We forgive you. It's okay. And in that exact moment, I just shattered. My heart opened. I felt like I was levitating off the ground, and you felt it in the entire room. There was like 100 people in the room. It was a huge class. The next day, and I'll tell this part because I forgot this part. And this is why, again, why we should go deep into this. The next day, there was a clairvoyant in the room. His name's Roy. He's so powerful. He can see, feel, connect, all the things. He's like, mate, you need to come talk to me right now. Something happened for you last night. I need to share. I walk outside with him, and he's like, you uncovered another spirit guide of yours. He's a big, scary looking dude. He's a Spartan, and he's your gatekeeper. He's in the middle here. The craziest thing about this story, right, is that right next to me was my new mate I just met, Dane Muller. I said, Dane, hey, bro, you should come over here for a second. I don't know why he was there, but I said, come over here for a second. Come talk to me and Roy. And as soon as he stepped into our field, Roy goes, Dane, do you have any connection to Greece or Spartans? Dane teared up. I teared up. And Dane pulls his sleeves up on his jumper. He's got Spartans, everything all over his forearms, right? And Roy started to tear up and get goosebumps. And he's like, oh, this is why you two have connected here. You were Spartans in a past life and you led armies together. Guess what comes from that? The biggest men's work business in Australia in the past year, heart-led warriors. The logo is the fucking Spartan helmet with the heart and everything under it. And it came from us realizing that in a past life, us two had led armies together of men, strong, powerful Spartan warriors, which is now being, and in that same day, we said we need to create a men's version for your wife's, because his wife's an incredible coach. She's got a big business, an MCM. We needed a men's pillar. And we were like, Dane was like, yep, bro, you're working for us. What are we going to call it? Let's call it Heart-Led Warriors, because he had a Heart-Led Wanderers business. And it all happened just like that in those couple of days at that NLP practice. And then Dane and I started this. We had our first retreat a month later, 2 months later. And now a year later, as I said, we've now been seen by, our TikTok's gone from 300 followers to nearly 200,000. Some of the videos have 5.6 million views and comments on them. Like, we are being asked by people in America, Canada, Germany, the Philippines, which they just went to the Philippines, to come and do these retreats. So if that's not a big enough reason after that long ass story to go deep into not only breath work, but spirit, and just see who or what you were in a past life, or who you still are.
Yeah.
And remember your gifts and remember your abilities, and just be open to what's possible. Because that changed my life. What's happened in the last 12 months, because of being open to that. Yeah, I could write a book about it. I'm sure I will at some point.
I hope you do. That is so incredible. I love it, because literally what we were just saying, y'all were there and you were in the container and you just let it flow, and look at the amazing, amazing things that have come from that. That's
Literally,
so
and that's
incredible.
my technician brand grew. I started another business, which is the wolf and the bear behind me, which isn't going anymore, but that was with my best mates, and that was the Bear Wolf Collective. So it shifted into Brother Nature, which was an event where we just taught basic breath, mindset, mindfulness, meditation, connection, so like eye gazing. And then at the end, because we wanted to keep it, make sure that people that had never done self-development Let's have a few light beers. Let's have some
Mhm.
wine. Let's chat. Limit it to two or three so you're not getting drunk.
Right.
And then we brought some local musicians in. So
Love it.
it was beautiful and it was such a cool event and it happened for a reason. But again, my creativity was wild because my feminine was so open. It was so
Yeah.
safe, and my intuition, that is my strength. My creative mind is wild. And
Oh,
because it's so in contact and in like I'm integrated in it, my creation is my strength, and that's why my brand is so powerful. That's why my ability to create things that other people don't create is so good. So as a man, I'm so safe in my feminine and so proud of my feminine
yeah.
that I welcome any men listening and seeing this. Step the fuck into your feminine because it'll change your life for the better.
Ah, amen. Yes, yes, all of it. Yes. I am so grateful that you just shared all that. I, without a shadow of a doubt, know that that is going to reach the exact ears and the exact hearts that are meant to hear it. And I am so excited for, well, I don't know that we've ever really talked about this, but one of my favorite things to do is connect others. That's something that I have a real passion about in all of my events. The one we just did, I had the women who have businesses get on a screen. I'll make you the host. Talk about your business. Share it with thousands of people. Do it.
Love that.
Step into ambitious courage. And I'm just so grateful that you're talking about this and that you are really saying what it meant to you and how it changed you, because truly whoever hears this and how they share it and who comes to you, I hope it's soul clients. I know it will be. And
Mm.
I hope that I can help you change the world, because we're all on the same mission, my dude. And every single time I meet another human being that is here, and like you said, we know the souls. We're like, oh, I've been here with you before. I know you. I know that soul. It's always life changing, because it's like these little pilot lights inside all of us, and like we come up and we just have this flame, and we're like, hey, right here. Like I know when we get done with this conversation, something within this is going to activate me. Something's already activated within you.
Oh, big
Like
time.
I'm already feeling it. I just am so grateful. So thank you. And I would love to, if you're cool with it, I'd love to share a piece of my spiritual journey as well. I'd love to
Oh, I'm
step into
so down for this.
vulnerability.
Yeah. Let's
Um,
let's do
Let me take a drink real quick, you guys. I think
it.
I've shared this one other time on the podcast.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, and I
Honored.
shared,
Let's go.
yeah. Well, the other time I shared it was with my shaman, who's my friend, Haley. So, and she was the one that did
Mm.
the work with me. And so she came into my life. Goodness gracious, about 3.5 years ago. And when she came into my life, it was just like this. It was like, holy shit, I know you. And she actually, it was because of Travis, the connector, my Travis.
Trav,
He
the
connected
man.
us too. And just for anybody that's listening, Travis with Warrior Garden. But he connected me to Haley, my shaman, who let me know if you want her information too. And as soon as we met, it was just like the most incredible magic that started to happen. And we just felt like we had known each other in a different way, like in such a way that it woke something up inside of me that was so feminine. And I just said it before, and many do. I grew up so masculine. I grew up with such masculine energy. I grew up choosing to be around men because I didn't feel very safe around women. I didn't feel safe to be near them. I didn't trust them. And I had reasons from my past, right? Stories that I kept holding on to. And when I met her, the residue of so many of those stories started to fall apart. And I felt so safe to be a different type of feminine with her. And she started to talk to me about something about, the ways of the shamanism that she practices and what she believes. And she was just opening my mind to it. And like everything else in my journey, it was such a remembering. Everything, it felt like lightning bolts in my soul. And I was like, yes, this, that, yes. And there was one day I had said to her, because she knows I'm a fucking go-getter. Are you into astrology? I'm sure you are.
Very open to
Okay.
it. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know enough about it, but I'm so open to it.
Okay. So I'm Aries sun, Leo moon, and Scorpio rising. So I'm kind of like, yeah, to everybody. So you either really dig it and you're like, let's fucking go, or you're
Yeah.
like, you need to chill, friend. And she knows that about me, and she knows that I go gung ho when it comes to reaching my highest potential. That's been my since I was a little girl. And
Mm.
so I came to her and I was like, I want to go deeper. And she's like, Heather, you need time to integrate. you need to sit your ass down and chill. And I was like, cool, yeah, for sure. And then a week later, I'm like, I want to go deeper. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, there's just something inside of me. Like I was doing all of these rituals and ceremonies for myself. And with Travis, we do them together so often. And we both do energy work. So we are doing energy work with each other. And so much was opening up inside of me. I will never forget the day that I was at one of my altars and a piece of my heart opened. Like I truly have never felt my heart chakra open like that. And it had happened so many other times, but that time I just fell to the chair and I was like, wow, this is what real forgiveness feels like. Like this is it. And so I went to her and I'm like, there's something inside of me. There's this part of me that's so scared to go further in my business. And I was like, it's this absolutely fucking irrational fear that somebody's going to come and take it away from me. And it's going to be this big, scary man. But in reality, I'm the woman that people say, like, if there's a dude that's being stupid, I call them shit asses, by the way. Like they're not real men to me. I'm sorry. They're just not. I love you. Bless you. I hope you heal, but do it over there. Do it over there, please. And so I forgot where I was. What was I saying? Sorry, I was so into this.
So you're the one they would call on to probably
Yes,
sort
I
things
was
out.
the one that they would call on, and I would always be able to stand up to those men. I had a very strong father who had a big voice, and he grew up in a time where you got your ass beat and, you know, whatever. And nothing against him. That was it. And so I'm very easy to come up against a man. Like I can stand there. And so like all of this started to happen and all of it started to come down. And I was like, holy crap, like all of this is coming out of me. And I feel all of this forgiveness. And I feel like I can dive deeper, but this fear of this man. And I was like, it's the fucking patriarchy. It's a fear of the patriarchy. Fuck. And I was like, Haley, there's something deeper in there though. And it was so interesting to what you were saying with the signs. Like my first client, my first paying client, within minutes of having that, an incredible divine timed event, I had a knock on the door at 8 p.m. and I was served papers to go to court and be there because of a dude that was just this horrible human that I had connection with beforehand. And standing up to him led me to finally starting my business. Like I jumped off the cliff, no net. And I was like, fuck this. I'm not making anybody else in this world wealthy. If I'm going to do it for anybody, it's going to be for myself and people with good hearts. Like I'm going to do it that way. And so like literally first paying client, like 2 minutes later, a knock on the door type of thing. So I was like, I know there's more. I know this is so connected, Haley. Take me deeper. And the first time that she did, actually, I think it was the second time, we were sitting there and we did a ceremony first. And, you know, there was incense burning and I was really trying to be in the moment and I was trying to smell. And I was like, just be so present. And when I started to smell, that's what took me deeper. And I found myself in this old, fuck. It was big stones, but not a ton of them. Mostly just like up to about 2.5 feet ish, if that. And then the rest of it was wood. It wasn't like super bad condition, but it was clearly a long ass time ago. The dressing, I mean, the way that people were dressed, the way that they spoke, and I was there. It was POV, it was point of view. Like I was in a body, my body, and I was laying in this bed and I could feel the sheets. I could smell the people around me. And I had just given birth. I'm definitely going to cry. I had just given birth and I was already beat up, so beat up. And I was so sore, but not from giving birth. And I knew that that baby at that time, I knew that that baby had was conceived through violence. And I knew that the baby was also being brought into the world in violence. And I had so much rage in me. And I've had rage in me my whole life, like we all do. And I've been working through it in big ways my whole life. And at that time I felt it different. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I watched as they didn't even look like, I mean, they were men, and there was 2 women that were also kind of beat up, that were clearly like a midwife, a doula. And these men reached into my private area, into my crotch, into my vagina, and they grabbed my baby and they took it. And when they took it, Like it was so painful. I have never felt pain like that in physical, emotional, mental. And I felt so taken advantage of and so hurt. I felt everything. I felt every heaviness I could feel. And I also felt the rage of a mother. I felt the I will burn this to the fucking ground rage. And when I came out of that, I hit my knees so many times after that. That was probably about 2.5 years ago now. And right around that same time, I was asking for so much to come into my life. And my children, who are not my biological children, they were my children from my divorce. A lot happened there, and I just wasn't able, I wasn't given the opportunity to continue contact, which I get legally. They came back into my life, and it was on my birthday. And it was just the most beautiful, like all of these things were happening. And like you were saying, like I was there.
Yeah.
There's no single person on this earth that could ever convince me that that was not real. I've
I
never
felt that when
experienced.
you were saying it. Yeah,
Yeah.
my whole body was just going off.
Yeah. And it's just, I've had similar ones. I had one of, I was a priestess, and a very powerful one. And I had wings. I had very, very beautiful big wings.
Mm.
And the man that I loved cut my wings. And I felt every piece of him cutting. And I shouldn't say the cutting, it was the aftermath. I don't remember the cutting. I remember the aftermath pain. And what's so incredible? Travis and I, the way that we met was so synchronistic. I'll have to tell you about it later, but you want to know the one thing I remembered about him, because we had a one night stand, and I didn't leave him my name or anything, because I was after a divorce. I was ashamed. I was also hungover because I wasn't doing great. And I didn't leave him my name or anything. And then we saw each other again, and there was like this pull. And you want to know the one thing I remembered about him after I saw him a year later was the wings that were tattooed on either side of his thighs.
So what just dropped in for me? Do you know much about the winged ones?
I don't. I would love any information you'll give me always.
So I get my information from my best friend, Christy Drake. Shout out to Christy, one of the most powerful women I've ever met and that I know. She's been seeing portals since she was 4 years old, right?
Mm.
She's so powerful. The universe sent someone to abuse her as a child so that she would get into her body. Sorry, out of her body into her head, because the trauma caused her to go up in here.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't safe anymore. It was being abused. And she openly talks about this. She's done a podcast and stuff, but she is so connected. And I didn't know anything about this, right? She's talking about like when we connected, I was like, what the fuck? I know you. I've just met you, but I know you. This was 2 years ago at a random event.
Yeah.
So similar to you meeting Trav, and but it wasn't obviously at that level. It was just mates. But
Yeah.
then we ran into each other again at this. Oh my god! Just realizing at NLP where I had that experience as the Aztec. And Christy watched my transformation. She's watching me. She knew what was coming. She'd seen this for fucking ages. And then at Master Prac, which was a month later, which is the next level of NLP, I had a moment where I was sitting there in the class. There's like 80 people, and Liz has big back and forwards with the class, like challenges, questions, everything. She's fucking epic. And they were having a big challenge back and forward about religion,
Mm.
about God. There was a lady in there that was very, very Catholic, I believe.
Mm.
And we all respect it. We all love it. We're all
Yeah.
open to everything. But Liz was just challenging a few things about it, right? And as this is happening, I'm sitting there and I'm looking around the room and I see little feathers falling from the fucking ceiling. I don't know what the hell is going on. And Liz is watching me. She saw me out of the corner of her eye. She's like, "You good, Trav?" I was like, "Yep." and I'm experiencing, and because there'd been some stuff happen the night before where we did some crazy spiritual shit too. And I'm wearing this necklace. I've got part of it on still. Of course, this is so. This is happening, right? And as they're talking about like the disciples of Christ and all these sort of things, something in me is like, yes, remember, remember. And I'm getting shaken. It's like my whole
Yeah.
body's goosebumps. I'm tearing up. At one point, I was full crying because they're talking about Archangel Michael. I found out, long story short, I realized in a moment and remembered that I was part of Archangel Michael's crew. I was a disciple of Christ. Now, this was told to me in a podcast by Roy, the guy that told me about my little middle Spartan, right? He goes, do you want to know who you were? Look at your shirt right now. You've got this. I had the Degeneration X from WWE on, but he's like,
Mm,
no, this represents, like, look at the cross. It's a cross of Christ. You were a disciple of Christ at some point. You were part of Archangel Michael's crew. You held the giant sword that he holds. And
mm.
all and I'm still like, what do you mean, bro? Like, what are you talking about? But then as I have this remembrance, and I've got this fucking necklace on, Christy comes up to me. She goes, I've been waiting for this moment. And she's crying, and I felt it, and I just hugged her, and it was like this boom, like this energetic vortex just goes like this, because she was a disciple as well. And she goes, look at this, and she, on her chest, in her neck area, she's got the sacred symbol tattooed. The necklace I was wearing that I picked up from a Chinese lady at a shopping center was the Star of David, the sacred symbol.
Well, let me just pull my necklace out. Mary Magdalene.
Of course. I got full goosebumps in my legs right now. Like, it's
Yeah.
like we somehow find each other, right? So
Yeah.
again, fast forwarding, Christy and I create this incredible connection after that day, and we're like, finally, we're remembered, we're connecting. We run events together now. We run group programs together. But at our men's retreat about 6 months ago, I'm going through massive changes again. I'm leveling up. My warrior king's coming through my chest the night before the retreat, during a breath with the boys that they held on the beach at night. I'm seeing a
Nice.
fucking I'm seeing a fucking dragon in the sky. There's a single bat that represents transformation, all this stuff, right? And then during an Akashic meditation the next day in the retreat, I have something happen. It was like a feeling, and we're all going around the room. Christy's up the front with Dane and that. Like, so boys, tell us what you experienced. They're going around the room. I'm just sitting there smiling, and Christy looks at me. Finally, she goes, "What happened with you, Trav? How's your back feel?" And something in me was like, "Oh, is that what it is?" And she just started bawling her eyes out, because she's like, "It's finally happened." I had two big wings, basically like energetic wings, just fly out my back, like sprout out and take up like the entire room. Um, and this is where she was like, "Yeah, you're a winged one. You're here to fucking like be a part of the healing of the world. This is why you do what you do. It's why you have the abilities you have. It's why you're the size you are. Like, you are here as a vessel and a healer to hold the energy, not only for others, yourself, and all the things, but the capacity of your physical stature and energetics you can hold wasn't to hurt people on the football field. It was to heal people off it."
Mhm.
And all this shit's dropping in, and I'm just like, what do you mean? And then that comes again to the most recent event we run, which we call Beast in the Beauty. That's our women's one.
Mm.
And the men's one is the Beauty and the Beast. And it's fucking epic. And we can't explain what we do, because you can't explain this
Yeah,
stuff
you
to most
can't.
people.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there during the breath, Heather, and Christy and I are watching. We're holding the space, and there's a lady and my friend Lindsay that was over in the corner, and she like had her arms out, just like, and she was her whole arms were shaking like she was receiving a gift. And I sort of joked, I was like, "Oh, I'll go give her the present that she's wanting or whatever." And I walked over, just joking and pretending, and like as I was giving her a gift, and then my whole body was shaking, and I looked at Christy. I was like, "What the fuck's happening?" And she's just, "Go with it." And I'm tearing up, and I'm like giving her this energetic gift, and then something hits the back of my hand, and my hands feel like they're on fire, like cold fire. They're like ice. And I look at Christy, and I'm freaking out, and I walk over to him, and I start bawling my eyes out. I'm like, "What the fuck was that?" And she's crying as well. And she's like, I feel there's a lot of crying, but she goes,
It's always good. It's always good.
"Oh, it's beautiful crying." And she goes, "You've just remembered another one of your gifts." And
Mhm.
after the event, we're sitting down and she's waiting. We're doing an interview and our videographer's asking questions and stuff. And Christy goes, they're asking me to ask you, what did you remember? And the story came through.
Yeah.
I was a shaman for a Native American village and I had healing hands. I could see as I'm saying it, I saw the grass, I saw the horses, I saw the rocks, I seen the water, I saw my tribe around me, and I was some like shaman that had healing hands. And my hands now, when I do energy work during the breath or any sort of Reiki or anything, I can feel it. I can
Mm-hmm.
feel there's some sort of Reiki, I guess, going on that I still haven't learned about. And it's these little gifts that keep popping up, right? So thank you for sharing, because I knew this would come into it at some point, talking about the wings and the winged ones. And something in me is like, you are exactly part of that crew too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
We
feel
find
it.
each other at some point.
Oh, absolutely. My whole body is just blah, 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 like everything
Yeah.
right now. And it's, I think I don't want to go too deep into it because we don't have too terribly much time, but if you'd ever want to come
Oh
back and
wow, it's
chat
already been
about it,
nearly an hour.
I know,
Holy,
I know.
how good.
It goes by so quick.
Yeah.
I would love to one day chat with you if you'd be down for it about what it's like on a journey like ours when you do deconstruct any religion or anything that you were taught, because in your heart so deeply, in your soul so much, you know that what you're being taught's not true. And not that
Yeah.
it's all false,
Yeah.
just you can feel the ones that aren't true, and you feel this. I don't know. I call it my wonder. I turn into Wonder Woman. Have you the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman? She's my girl. Like I
Oh,
turn into her, and I'm just like, no, you're not gonna use that love for hate. Like you're not gonna use that for that. Like I go full bore, and I have since I was a little girl, and it got me into so much trouble. I got in so
it's
much trouble.
but it's why you are who you are, right? And it's why you do
Yeah,
what you do. Because I think without that, I'm the same. I love superheroes and stuff like that. So for me, the technician, I feel that was created based off my love for that. And I created
yeah.
I guess, a vessel that was going to become the superhero to save the world, right?
Mm,
So when I step into that, I step into, like, I'm Trav
yeah.
most of the time. I'm the fun, loving, big, kind hearted dude who is also a warrior. But then the
Mm-hmm.
technician steps in as a whole new thing where it's like these abilities and tools and
Yep.
things that I don't even know about yet just come out during these sessions. And I love what you said, because I'm hearing, like, I can hear a story about, like, I've got a lot of female clients as well. And I think it's beautiful because I am, like I said before, like a representation of what's possible for an integrated man for them to call
Yeah.
in. But when they're talking about their stories of how they were abused by their exes with emotional abuse, physical abuse, and all these things, and they're fucking horrible stories. But my ability to remove the bias and go, I know he's just a hurt little boy. I
Mm-hmm.
know he was probably beaten by his dad too, and most of the
Yeah.
time it's doesn't make it
Yeah.
okay, and it's not an
No.
excuse. But I think because of my compassion and understanding of that, I'm able to remove any judgment, any like this, and this. And that even in itself allows them to heal even quicker, because they can look at it from a subjective or objective, I think subjective point of view, and go, oh my God, you're so right. That's
Mm-hmm.
why Gary did what he did, because
Yeah.
of what his father, he told me about that. I didn't even think that so you're
Mm-hmm.
putting the pieces together for them from an outside point of view and not healing them, but they're healing themselves.
I think that's what makes us great coaches.
Yeah.
I think all of us that, because that's that I truly believe that is the way to do this work with integrity. Um,
100%.
and a lot of other things it brings to the table, but truly, like you know, you don't have to be doing something for 25 years before you teach it. And I forgot for a second that we had listeners, so I'm going to address them because it just feels like we were hanging out talking for a little bit. Listeners out there, you don't have to be doing something for 25 years before you can teach it. I want you to remember that the quickest way to soak something up, just like I was saying, the quickest way I learn is to read it, to hear it, to feel it, be an experience. Like I want an experience. Like give me the whole fucking thing. I'll do it. It'll probably be a ceremony. And then let me find the coach that's now going to meet me in this space, because I don't like to find a coach when I dig that process. That's like I don't know if you're into human design, but I'm a 3-5, so I like to experiment.
I'm a projector.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
There's not
that.
many of us. There's
There's
not many of us.
not.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So
Yeah,
cool.
so that's the leader and the ideas and everything, but execution struggle a little bit. Yeah,
Oh, well, I mean, I think we all can be that way. I'll give you some of my fire. Here you go. Cause like I'm always going
thank
at
you.
110.
Yep, perfect.
Well, speaking of, we do have to get going because I fly out to Florida here in a few hours. I'm so excited. I'm going to go meet
Ooh,
she was my client in the Brazen Sisterhood, which is my Discord community. And then she became an intern. Like she was like, I actually sent you an email, Heather, last year, and I wanted to see if you needed an assistant. And I was like, well, fuck, it's not like me to not see an email. Like that's very unlike me. So I was like, that's
yeah, wow.
purposeful.
Yeah,
So it's just turned into this beautiful like friendship. She helps me with everything, and we're gonna get to meet in person for the first time and spend the whole weekend in Florida together. So I'm fucking stoked.
that's cool. It's, you know what's wild? I'm actually doing something similar this weekend where I'm going to a client's Christmas party that he's invited me to. But I'm also a new client just come on. He's got a big property development company. He wants me to do like a men's work session for his media company. So
Mm,
there's like 3 or 4 young lads that work for him.
yeah.
They need some help with their emotions and being, stabilized in that. I'm like, cool, let's do a session. So it's like that corporate consciousness is being built now, right? So
Yes.
a whole weekend of fun, play, exploring, and being around people we're actually helping that are helping us too. So
Oh,
that's
it changes
exciting.
the
I love that.
world. It changes the
Yep.
world. This was probably my favorite conversation that I've had on the podcast all year. I'm not going to lie.
Agreed.
This was
Agreed.
amazing. I'm so excited. And I love that we talked about using this video as well, because if there's
Yeah.
ever going to be a podcast that I'm going to use the video for, is that like we had the experience, like we had the activation. And I'm so excited to see. You have to tell me in the next couple of months what happens for you, because I know we lit that spark for each
Um,
other somehow.
there's so much happening right now, Heather, that if I tried to explain it, I know
Mm-hmm.
you'd understand it,
Oh, for sure.
but I don't think I would be able to sort of like grasp it, because I think the more I tell people, it sounds wild to me because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is happening. What the fuck? What do you mean? I had a video yesterday of one of my clients who it's her last session today, who I'm about to go see. So she's going to cop this activated Trav, which thank you.
Yeah.
So her son, I had a picture of me. I had a photo shoot recently with my best mate, Sammy Rothava. Shout out, Sammy. And it's a picture of me wearing like a Miami Dolphins shirt. Um,
Florida.
a
Nice.
Florida. So Miami Dolphins shirt with a basketball in my hand. I love basketball. I got glasses on, and it's just a vibe. It's cool. It's me.
Yeah.
She sends me a picture of her son, Tayden, who's like 8, dressed like me. He found a Miami shirt. He found a little basketball. He put these cool glasses on and took the same pose and same picture. And she goes, just said to me, I want to be like Trav when I grow up. And to see that as a coach and as a podcaster,
Yeah.
when I wanted that as a football player. I wanted kids to look up to me because I want to inspire the next generation.
Yeah.
I love kids. Like I love like teenagers I get along with like crazy. I've got stuff coming for that next year. I'm going to work in detention centers with juveniles, like things like this. And to see that made my whole year. And it made me realize that like, holy shit, I don't have to be an athlete or something to inspire people. I
Mm-mm.
can be Trav. I can be this person that's just doing beautiful things in the world and continues to show up no matter what and inspire kids like that.
Hell yes. 1,000% yes. Trav,
Yeah.
do you want to tell everybody, because I'm sure you just found soul clients. You want to tell them how to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting because I'm assuming a lot of your audience is American.
Well, I thought so too until recently. It blew up. Well, a lot blew up in the last 2 months. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So for me, I do a lot of, I like most of my stuff's online. I work with people all around Australia. I've had someone from the UK, New Zealand, but essentially reaching out to my Instagrams is probably the best way. It's under just the technician. And I do have Facebook, Travis Cochran, if you want to reach out there, email, all the things, which I'm guessing some of that'll be in the show notes as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I do one-on-ones. I've got a limited number I work with because I like to keep that really special. But we have new group programs coming out, Christy and I, in the new year, which is going to be beautiful. Beauty and the Beast and Beast and the Beauty. All the things. We're doing plenty. I've got a membership group coming through too. I love your Discord idea
Yeah.
because I'm about to build something similar where it's like a monthly retainer where it's like We do weekly lives, Q&As, Zooms where you can touch on issues people are going through together as a group. Just all the
Yes.
fun stuff, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
but Instagram's probably the best place.
Oh, I love it. Good, good, good. And this is going to be coming out in the beginning of the year. Actually, you know what? I might let this air while I'm on vacation in January. That would be so perfect.
Ooh,
So I will get a hold of you, of course, and let you know,
of course.
and get your picture and everything. But just so you know, that's when it's going to be hitting. So with that in mind, is there anything for them to be looking for at that time frame?
So I think what's going to be happening in the new year is there's going to be, obviously my podcast is going to be, I've got some new guests. I've got a new guest here right in front of me that's going to be coming on.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love to get Trav on. I'd love to have a
Yeah.
conversation with Trav. But we've got retreats coming up. We want to, if there's a big enough pool, shouting out to all your listeners right now, if there's a big enough pool for us to, a reason for us to come to America and run a Heart Led Warriors retreat for the men. In what area are you in, Heather?
Currently we're in Wisconsin, but we are moving back to Iowa. So it'll be dead center of America.
Iowa's perfect in the middle, in the heart of the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if we could get, all we need is 20 men. 20 men, we will fly over and run. I'll talk to Dane, but I would say he would love to come and run a retreat over there.
I say my whole body's on fire. My heart's on fire. I have goosebumps. I say I will sit with Trav. We will chat about in the next few weeks. Let's get in touch after the holidays and let's make something happen.
Because I'm assuming you would have so many females following you that have husbands, dads,
Mm-hmm.
brothers, boyfriends that would benefit from the work that we do. And I know there's not
Yeah.
much of it over there. There's like Sacred Sons and a couple of other things, but
Yeah.
I think the beauty of what we do is very much like it's for everyone. It's not.
Yeah.
I think Sacred Sons is like really. Oh, I know they try to say everyone, but I think the look and feel of it, a lot of the everyday goers wouldn't go to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
this is for like your blue collars, your white collars, anyone. Like they'll come along and be like, okay, like I drink beer and do all these other things, but I'm open to what these blokes are doing and screaming and crying and getting their emotions out.
Right.
Maybe this is what I need to do. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that could be something we build together and make this happen.
Travis, I'm 1,000% in. Like,
Yeah,
I don't even have to think about it. I'm a thousand
I
percent
feel
in.
that. I felt
Let's
that as soon
fucking
as I
make
said
let's make this happen. I'm
it.
so excited. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but obviously you already know that this is something that my Travis and I have been talking about for a while and he's been wanting to be a part of. So it
Yeah.
just makes sense. It just makes sense.
100%. And then you guys can obviously be a part of it, be facilitators of some sort. And then we can show all our processes and whatever and give an idea of what you could build over there too.
That would
Because
be
the more people
amazing.
we've got doing that is perfect.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is how we're starting the new year. Amazing.
And I know, right?
I love it.
That was amazing. Thank
This
you so
this
much.
was.
I'm fucking gassed up right now.
I'm going to let you go. I know you have a client, but I just want to say thank you again, Travis. This has been incredible. I would love to have you back on so many more times. And is there anything else you want to say before I close us out?
I would say for anyone that's really wanting to get to the depths of themselves, please shine some light on your shadows. Look into
Mm,
Carl Jung. The shadow work's what's changed my life. It's understanding the parts of you that you shame and you try to keep in the darkness and you repress. And keep in mind, something I heard that really landed for me was that we're all child abusers because we're abusing our own inner child. If you actually finally let them be heard, then you can stop calling yourself a child abuser, because if your inner child comes out and you heal those parts of you, it will change your life.
you just
That
made
is
something
what.
unlock inside of me. I'm going to go cry real quick in the
Oh,
best way, the best way, the best possible way. I'm going to go cry real quick. Oh, I love that.
amazing.
Thank you. All
And
right,
I'll
you
get a
guys.
quick picture of us right
Oh, yeah.
here. Perfect.
Love
And yeah,
it.
I can't thank you enough. I already love you so much.
I know. I'm
And
so excited.
I'm sure we'll connect a lot more after this.
I'm
But
sure.
enjoy
I'm sure.
Miami or
Thank
Florida.
you. Yes, yes. Fort Lauderdale, I believe. All right,
Perfect.
guys, you know the deal. At the end of all of these, I really want you guys to consider what you can do for yourself. Go do something kind for yourself today. Go do something for yourself that brings you joy. Go step back into a hobby. Go find a fucking smile. Go watch an Adam Sandler movie. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, go do something and make yourself smile, and then go do something nice for someone else. Because the moment that you start to flow your cup over, that overflow can go to others. So please, please, please go do that today and have a wonderful day, you guys. We'll talk soon.